Silver is the biggest idiot I have ever met in professional sports. He knows how to market because I'm going to tell you why he knows how to market. Because he understands what the players want. And as long as the players want it, by all means, you can have it. The ownership means nothing in the NBA. If they're racist or they do something, they can lose their team. We've seen two teams get rid of their owners with a blink of an eye. Were they right for what they did? Absolutely not. But how do you force an owner to sell their team? Why? Because the players won't play for them. That's a big bunch of crap. As far as I'm concerned, this three-point shot has ruined the game. It's ruined the game. 51 shots a game by the Celtics. It's a mockery. We might as well all shoot three-pointers. If you hit half of them, you're going to score 100. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing for the league. Adam Silver does not understand the game very, very well, because if he understood the game, he would know that pushing the NBA three-point shot back would make the game better, because not everybody's going to be chucking up these threes because they know they don't have a chance of hitting them. And as far as I'm concerned with the TV deals, it has nothing to do with the TV deals. I'm going to tell you why. Because no matter what, if you're a fan of a team, they're going to watch it. That's it. If you're playing fantasy and you're playing fantasy sports, you're going to watch it. It's all about money, mucho dinero, betting on a line, money line, or whatever the hell you're betting on. How many points they score, how many assists, how many rebounds they have. You're going to watch the game. As far as I'm concerned, right now, that NBA Cup is a bunch of crap. I've said it. That's why it was my deuce of the day last week. It's garbage. It doesn't help the league. It'll never help the league. And as far as I'm concerned with attendance, lower the prices of cost when you're going to a game. How could you go to a basketball game and pay $400 to sit in the nosebleeds? Morons. $356 to go sit in the nosebleeds to watch the Knicks and the Celtics. What a joke. And the NBA and Adam Silver, please go to Disney, go somewhere and be an executive somewhere else. You're an absolute joke. You've ruined the game of basketball because you've handed it over to the players and you've handed it over to LeBron friggin' James.
Yeah, what are you going to try and make this a rock and jock? Like, oh, this is now going to be a four-pointer because it's this far out. But when he talks about it and he's like, well, ratings are down. Well, obviously because all this load management stuff. And why do I want to go sit there and pay this crazy amount of money to watch a 136 to 128 game? No defense played. No wonder. And yeah, and ratings are down because, if it's on late, whatever, but it's 87 to 77. And I'm just like, what's the point? I'm not watching anything but a glorified pickup game with some really good basketball players. I mean, that's really what it is in the regular season. And then you obviously go into the postseason and you see how the game changes. So yeah, it's no wonder. And you think all of these things are going to change anything and make it better for the sport? He's definitely smoking something, and I don't want any of it.
He's smoking profits. They're making money hand over fist over there. And I just commented on what you guys were saying before about the marketing. They just do it better. I mean, it's a little easier in basketball. Fewer guys on the court, and they're visible all the time, and their faces are on the screen. Probably more than any of the other sports. Not covered up by a helmet or anything like that either. I just do think that they just do a great job of marketing, like you were saying, Errol. Whether or not the product's any good doesn't seem to matter because the product is arguably terrible. And Errol, you talk about this all the time, that Steph Curry is the one, and I just played his barrage of threes from the Olympics, is the one that changed the game, not for the better, but for the worse, to the point where the style of play, and it seems like Jabba, I've always heard this, they don't play defense in the NBA till the playoffs. And well, that's probably true to a certain extent. I do think that the defense that's being played is just perimeter, boring to watch defense. They're not passing into the post. They're playing 5 out, offensive sets as opposed to putting guys at the top of the key or like 2 guys in horns. You just don't see any of the same stuff that you used to see back in the day when we played. I used to love watching centers in the post and operating in the post and passing out of the post. I used to love power forwards operating from the elbow. You know, like you don't see any of those things. So when you watch the game, it doesn't remind you of the game that you used to watch and love. So I think that's, although, you know, it's hard to argue with the analytical guys, though they have those MIT degrees, you know, like they know how, you know, where the shots need to come from, and a 3-pointer is better than a long two. I get it. I get it. But come on, guys, we got to make this game enjoyable to watch at some point here.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things that the NBA is kind of lacking. A starter replace LeBron James is one of them. I mean, they don't really have a guy that is coming up to give those ratings. The 3-pointers, I don't think are really killing it. What they need to get back to is more handsy defense. Stop letting these guys huck up 33 a game and 43's a game, whatever. You said 50 by the Celtics the other day. They're just not allowing them
for season,
to,
not
like,
one game.
Yeah, they're just not allowing them to be aggressive on defense. They're just calling every ticky-tack foul. And then when they get to the playoffs, it's a completely different game. They allow them to kind of push people around, kind of get physical, and you see the numbers come back. But I think the main problem is just not having those stars. And like Jabba said, like you go to a game and Embiid's not playing. Kawhi Leonard hasn't played all year. Paul George has been out. The guys that are supposed to be superstars are just picking when they want to play, and then the fans are missing out because they're paying $500 a ticket to see scrubs play on a basketball court.